The runs for engine 3 and engine 2 located the other New Jersey Avenue and 5th and F. They would probably be responding more north to pick up where engine 16 would have originally responded to. But they're between 15 and 20 calls a day. It's a busy station.
Again, another reason not to place this directly across the street from a public school. So, I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E oppose the plans for a swing space for engine company number 16 at 10th Street and Rhode Island Avenue Northwest, and that we encourage DGS to seek other alternatives in order to avoid the negative impacts on Seton Elementary School and the residents of the neighborhood, and that we communicate this to the director of DGS as well as the fire chief and the mayor of the District of Columbia. And I would ask for a second.
I second
It's been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
it. Aye.
Nay.
And a show of hands, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nays. 1, 2, 3. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
Moving on to 900 block of French Street Northwest. This is a request for a letter of support. DDOT has agreed to study the removal of a mid-block bump out on the 900 block of French Street Northwest. This was a 1970s design that originally had contemplated seating on the bump out, which was subsequently never installed, and the Civic Association there has been working on streetscape improvements that will include the removal of the bump out. I don't see the president of the association, Ms. Norman, here, but I did participate in a walkthrough with DDOT and the officers of the association about 3 weeks ago, and DDOT is more than willing to conduct the traffic study as the preliminary for the construction, and their only request is that the ANC support this particular request. So, are there any questions? Hearing none.
Before we support the removal, can we wait until we see what the survey says, or whatever they getting done? It's not gonna happen overnight, is it?
No, it's not gonna happen overnight, but the request that we're making of DDOT is to conduct the traffic study for the removal of the bump out.
I'm sorry, say it slow, I'm going.
So what DDOT needs in order to be able to move forward with the traffic study that would allow them to subsequently remove the bump out if they determine that there is no adverse impact on traffic or pedestrian safety, is a letter stating that the commission supports the removal of the bump out. If they subsequently determine that the removal of the bump out would have a negative impact, then they will so report it and they will not go forward.
A bump out is just a little bump in the middle of the street.
Exactly, there are cars parked on either side. So this is on the north side of the street. There are cars parked to the east of the bump out. There are cars parked to the west of the bump out. The removal of the bump out will allow additional cars to be able to be parked on the north side of the street. And then that will be part of an overall streetscape improvement for the block. So once again, the request is, the motion is that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E support the removal of the mid-block bump out on the north side of the 900 block of French Street Northwest, and that we communicate that support to the Director of the District Department of Transportation. And I would ask for a second.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
No, I'm abstaining.
So that's 5, 0, and 1. So motion passes. Thank you very much. 1200 S Street Northwest, that's the location of Garrison. Elementary School. Many of you probably have heard that the Parent Teacher Association at Garrison has been advocating for a swifter renovation schedule for that school that has not had any work done on it in about 50 years when it was initially constructed. There are residents of ANC 6E in my single member district who are in boundary for Garrison Elementary School. I believe at this point all of the other ANCs, these are all Ward 2 ANCs, where young people are able to attend the school and do attend the school, even though I think there are students from all 8 wards, if I'm not mistaken, that attend Garrison, have passed resolutions of support, and we have a representative from this effort to come forward to ask us to likewise support this scheduling change, which just recently, in the past couple of days, we have an indication from the mayor's office that they will be moving that renovation forward in the schedule. So please come forward and identify yourself.
Hi, thanks for,
It's on.
Hi, thanks for having me here tonight. My name is Stephanie Malt. I'm an ANC commissioner in DuPont Circle, and I'm also part of the Ward 2 Education Network. The reason why I'm dressed like this is because I coach Girls on the Run at Ross Elementary, so I'm coming from my Girls on the Run practice. So I am here, as Alex said, there are a number of ANCs and communities that have been working together. So it's the ANC 2A, which is Foggy Bottom, ANC 2B, which is DuPont, ANC 2F, which is Logan Circle, and I'm actually going over to ANC 1B, which is the Shaw U Street area, next week, who all have in-boundary kids at Garrison. And essentially this resolution is to support modernization in a single fiscal funding as opposed to the phased-in approach, which DC typically recommends that buildings are approached in a phased-in, so there's 3 phases. So, and actually, because of when all the budget stuff just happened, the mayor and as well as Jack Evans have committed to full funding for modernization of Garrison in the next fiscal in FY15. So essentially this would just be showing this community support for that effort because it is a support of our local community school. Also, there's some other amenities that are going to be not just specific to the school, but for the entire community to use and take advantage of. And while the construction is going on, there is swing space in the school available, so the students will be able to stay in class in that school throughout the entire construction timeframe.
Do we know how many 6E students are affected by this?
We calculated, I mean, there's between 10 and 45 right now, but those numbers are growing because the Ward 1, Ward 2, and the Ward 6 boundary, those are the highest population with the highest growth population with the youngest kids. So there are a lot of families with 2- and 3-year-olds who will be in boundary for Garrison in the next year or 2. But I know that we did look at some numbers. There's between 10 and 40 that are currently in boundary, and some do in fact go there.
Is the school fully enrolled, 100%?
I am not sure. I think they hit their enrollment target for this year. Garrison was one of the schools that was on the chopping block, which is, yeah, so I'm not sure if they're fully enrolled, but I can get back to you on those numbers. I don't know. I'm not on the PTA or on the modernization committee, and I can tweet somebody and get those numbers, but I don't know them off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Any other questions from the commission? Questions from the public? Hearing none. I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E support the full modernization of Garrison Elementary School in fiscal year 2015, and that we communicate that support to the Mayor of the District of Columbia and the Chancellor of the DC Public Schools. And I would ask for a second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Thank you very much. So that completes the items of non-commission internal business that we had on the agenda. There was a suggestion earlier that we go back and look at the 4 items that were proposed, but that were not approved when we looked to approve the agenda earlier. It is now 8:22. I feel comfortable that if the commission chooses to take up these 4 additional items, that we will complete them and the housekeeping issues well in advance of our required departure time from this room this evening.
I just don't feel comfortable talking about the cafe and the, what was the other one? The bus, because I mean, we got that like a half an hour before the meeting started. I mean, you know,
Again,
there's no feedback from the community.
Well, it's in my district. I can tell you about the cafe. They, are you still here?
Yeah.
Oh, he is still here. And this is the laundromat, they're changing it to
so
a-
wait a minute. First, are we going to take this up under other new business? And that's what I would recommend that we do. So, I'm hearing no objections.
I say no.
Well, I'd like to see us get through all of our housekeeping things, and if we have time, then we can address it. Because we always have 2 seconds at the end of every meeting to go over all these things, and I'd like to see us not have to race through in case somebody wants to discuss some of it.
Well,
I believe that we have enough time to do this, so it's under other new business, on the agenda, and we'll limit the time for discussion to ensure that we can get through the housekeeping issues.
But I mean, I just started finding to believe that the zoning got it that quick. I mean, usually it's 30 days out.
That is correct, but something different is going on down at zoning, which I will further explore. But under new business, first we have 1535 7th Street Northwest. This is a request for zoning relief to add 23 seats to a new coffee roaster and cafe, Compass Coffee. So if you could make a very brief presentation, the commission will consider taking action.
Great, thank you very much. I promise to be quick, everybody. My name is Michael Haft. I'm here on behalf of Compass Coffee. I'm really sorry about my bootleg little illustration here. My architect had to leave when we left the first time. So I've sort of drawn the cafe.
Yeah, can you show me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So right now the laundromat, or the former laundromat, is 3,200 square feet. And we're in the process of renovating it and turning it into a new cafe and coffee roastery. As a prepared food shop, we've been allowed 18 seats. It doesn't matter whether we're 100 square feet or the size of a football field. 18 seats is the way prepared foods go. So we're looking to get these additional seats to create a much larger space for the community. We're looking to have bench seating along this wall, a large communal table, some seats facing a window, some bench seating over here by the coffee bar. So that's it in a nutshell, is we're looking to create a nice place for the community. It's just a coffee shop. We're not looking for any sort of crazy exemptions, nothing special.
You're not looking for an
simple.
ABC license?
No, there will be no alcohol. It's literally coffee, tea, baked goods, pastries, and a nice place with Wi-Fi that you can come and hang out and sit, enjoy your morning.
Questions from members of the commission?
And I just don't know what the neighbors think.
We'll
Hey,
we'll
good job.
rely upon Commissioner Chapman.
I know, so like,
But-
give
but-
some feedback.
Okay, but, I find it curious that during the December meeting, when someone else was here on short notice and they wanted, some zoning relief, and you were all for it, and you didn't hear from the neighbors. But now, he's just seeking zoning relief to put 23 seats in his coffee bar. You're so
I know,
concerned
'cause I got in
about.
trouble last December for,
You didn't
an
get
hour.
in trouble. It was just people disagreed with you. But I mean, this is not anything that's controversial. This is a coffee shop. It's zoned for a laundromat. They're changing it to a coffee shop. And because of that, they're seeking zoning relief so they can put 23 seats in there. It's not anything that's controversial. It's not anything that any neighbors are opposing. They're looking forward to this coffee shop coming into the neighborhood and this abandoned laundromat to be used for something that will be a benefit to the community.
What
So
did they say?
they're all for it.
So our current drawing, I know this is not great. Our cafe is 1,800 square feet. We have offices and storage for 1,400 square feet. Whether or not there's zoning relief, these are the proportions and this is the size. So I would hate to open up with only 18 seats and just not have chairs for people to sit there. I think it would be a lot better to have the chairs to go through the proper avenues. I think it's a lot better place to hang out. It would be really weird for people to show up, you know, and have a nice high table, but you have to stand there and drink your coffee. We're trying to make it a better place for the community. We're not trying to change the regulations to have a smaller cafe. We actually want to have people come and hang out and spend time there. Just for comparison, the average Starbucks is 1,800 square feet with 55 seats.
Mr. Chappell, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I move that ANC 6E support the zoning relief sought by, is it its name?
Compass Coffee is the name.
Compass Coffee.
Yes.
And that we communicate our support to the BZA.
I'll second the motion. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is that unanimous? Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Looking forward to having you at the shop. And honestly, if you ever want to have a meeting or a pre-meeting, you guys come on by.
1200 block of 6th Street Northwest, West Side. We were advised by the District Department of Transportation just last week that they were prepared to begin a study of extending the diagonal Sunday parking hours on the west side of the block, adjacent to United House of Prayer for All People, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Commissioner Nigro and I both received the email and expressed significant concerns about this process to Mr. Patterson from DDOT. Did you want to describe the situation further, Commissioner Nigro?
No, I think actually Frank, it's Frank's area, but I have some feedback from my constituents, because I put the letter on my Facebook page, I got a lot of feedback, but if Frank wants to, let Frank discuss first.
Basically, Bishop Bailey is looking at that block, 1200 block of 6th Street on the west side, and the House of Prayer, combined with that House of Prayer location as well as the Canaan land, they own approximately 80% of the block outside on First Horizon Baptist Church. Bishop Bailey believes, his position is that the House of Prayer, because we inhabit the bulk of that block, the services there on Sunday, they run from 9 to 10:30 for Sunday school, 11 o'clock gospel services, 3 o'clock evening services, 5 o'clock youth services, 7:30. So basically what's happening there all day long. And he's looking for relief because of the parishioners are running out as they were before, 3 o'clock, trying not to get $20 tickets. There's still 2 lanes going northbound on 6th. There's still a lane going southbound on 6th Street. So it's still 3 lanes of traffic on both directions. So they're just looking for, he's just looking for that relief because they're there all day. It's in their neighborhood. 80% of the block is House of Prayer. On the opposite side is Washington Apartments. I believe bulk of the Washington Apartment residents actually park behind Washington Apartments as well as on 5th Street. I remember 5th Street when, before gentrification took place, you could park on 5th Street anytime. The spaces were always open, even though the parking lot was empty. Now the lot is pretty full, and 5th Street parking is used on that side as well. So I very rarely see people who are Washington apartment residents parking and walking over to the apartment building. So, and it's not affected on the east side of 6th Street because parking is still available. So you still have 3 lanes of traffic on 6th Street. 1 going south, 2 going north. Just looking at just Sundays only, because the House of Prayer owns 80% of that block. I think First Horizon, they have 2 morning services, 1 at 8 and I think 1 at 10. So it won't even really affect First Horizon. I'm not sure how long the services are at Galbraith. I don't think they have services that late at Galbraith as well. to noon.
maybe something.
So we don't have to worry about First Rising or Galbraith looking for that same type of extension.
All right, so, my constituents that live on the east side of Sixth Street are directly impacted by this. To get to the garages for both I Live, Yale, Steam Laundry, and Yale West, you have to use M Street to access and go around those garages, and then the townhouses behind on M and Ridge and all that. So they use M Street a lot. So to go down 6 and then turn left on M on Sundays can sometimes take up to 15 minutes. And, you know, as I saw Apostle Green earlier here tonight, I explained to him, I said, we gave you till 3 o'clock last year, if you remember, Frank, and everything was fine. Everything was peachy after that. And then, so when Alex and I saw this the other day, we're like, well, where'd this come from? You know, because we didn't hear about anything last year about this. So I put it on my Facebook page, and everyone was like, absolutely not, no way, definitely not, positively not, no, it's crazy. So everyone basically, and these are, the majority of these people that have responded already live on that east side. It's just that and they're not against, no one's against the church or anything like that. It's just the frustration that they feel, and God forbid if there's a thing at the convention center, watch out at the same time. It is just, and I was telling Frank last night, I talked to Frank last night, I have people parking on the sidewalk now in my area. So that's how bad it is. So.
And my issue is setting a precedent. Once we gave United House of Prayer until 3 o'clock, then other churches that only had diagonal parking rights until 2 o'clock were asking for that amendment. If we offer United House of Prayer this accommodation and take it to 9 o'clock, then all those other areas are gonna ask for the same thing. And those of you that are members of some of the churches that are affected in the audience know what I'm talking about. So, this, one thing that you didn't mention, Commissioner Magro, is that by having those cars parked diagonally until 9 o'clock, it causes anyone that wants to park there and not have to move their car until the morning to have to come out again after they presumably have gotten comfortable for the night, maybe had dinner, to come out and move their cars to be able to be legally parked for the next day. So those are the 2 reasons that I have objection.
I think the traffic on Sunday on 6th Street is duly affected. Even, 3 o'clock, if it goes through till 9 o'clock, I mean, I just don't think it's right to ask everybody in the neighborhood to have to change, and people just coming in and coming into town. One lane going south is just not sufficient for most of the day. I have waited from 10 or 15 minutes from above House of Prayer just to get down to New York Avenue because of the diagonal parking and because people don't even make any, I mean, no offense, but the church folks don't make any attempt to move them at 3 o'clock. And that's not only House of Prayer, but it's also a couple of the other churches. So I would tend not to be happy about it, but I would also like to make a suggestion that House of Prayer might want to consider putting in an underground parking lot. If parking is your biggest issue, there must be a way you can add a level of parking underneath your full block that you own, or somewhere that all the houses and everything else that you own, that you could manage to find a way to put an underground parking lot for your parishioners. I think it's a lot to ask people to give up being able to use 6th Street, especially with all the construction we're going to be having going on. I just think it's a bit much.
Well, knowing that it costs upwards of $40,000 per below-grade parking space to construct such a space, I would leave it to United House of Prayer to determine the financial feasibility, much less the construction feasibility, because they'd have to demolish, part of their existing structures there in order to be able to build a garage. But I certainly have asked, churches in my jurisdiction to take a look at adjacent property for the very reason that you've looked at. But the right combination of elements hasn't materialized. Did you want to respond to anything?
No? I mean, I figured that this commission wouldn't go for it. But,
And I gave Frank some suggestions last night, so I'm working on suggestions.
All right, again, the issue that I have, you know, with the way that DDOT went about this, is that they were proposing to just go ahead and put up temporary signs, study the impact on traffic, but in the meantime, you know, that's already causing the same type of challenges that permanent signage would install there. So I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E oppose the proposed study of increased Sunday diagonal parking on the west side of the 1200 block of 6th Street Northwest, and that we would oppose permanent installation of such signage, and that we communicate that information to the Director of the District Department of Transportation. I would ask for a second.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's do it by
Aye.
show of hands.
Aye.
Those in favor of the resolution, was that yes? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? The nays? 1 nay. Was there an abstention? Rita, I'm sorry, you can see your hand. It was a yay? Okay, so it's 6-1 and 0. So that motion passes. You know, very quickly, the National Park Service is in the process of installing parking meters along areas of the mall in East Potomac Park, West Potomac Park that it did not have previously. They're looking to use some of that funding to create a new circulator line. The DuPont Circle ANC has asked or made the recommendation that that circulator actually connect the Lincoln Memorial to the African American Civil War Memorial. What I am asking the commission to endorse is that we have 9th Street be the southbound leg of that route, so that it takes up half of the former Shaw to Southwest Waterfront circulator that was suspended due to the construction taking place at City Market, which was the O Street turnaround, as well as on Main Avenue on the waterfront. So it's a suggestion to DDOT and the National Park Service to explore that route so that we could once again provide circulator service between Shaw and Southwest. So I provided a copy of a current DuPont Current newspaper article about the ANC 2B action, and I provided a copy of their resolution related to this in case people had questions related to that.
So
Yes.
what does WMATA think about all this? Because of,
WMATA does not operate the circulator.
No, but I'm saying that was, I remember the reason, that's why they took away that circular route, because they're like, WMATA's gonna take it off the slack. Wasn't that the whole thing about?
They
divided it and then
They were talking about having the 74 take up some of that, and the 74 is being terminated. So this will not be duplicative of any service that currently exists.
Did the circulator stop running because of construction or because of lack of ridership?
We were able to conclusively demonstrate that it was not lack of ridership, it actually had higher ridership than some of the routes that were maintained. So I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E request that the National Park Service and the District Department of Transportation explore using 9th Street as the southbound leg of the proposed mall to U Street route. And then we communicate that support to the Director of the District Department of Transportation. I would ask for a second.
I'm sorry, I have to ask one more question.
We just,
I'll second it.
okay, go ahead, Mark.
That going down 9th Street to Southwest, it would go through the tunnel? So I don't think the tunnel can
It
support that.
wouldn't have to go through the tunnel, it could swing over to 7th Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but 9th Street, certainly through our jurisdiction. It's been properly moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Thank you very much. Final item of other business, the community impact statement for Kevin Long, again related to crimes. Did we get a representative from the U.S. Attorney's Office? We don't. Did you want to discuss this? No action?
Not now.
Okay. All right, any old business? Hearing none, approval of minutes of the February 4th, 2014 meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes with any corrections submitted by members of the commission.
I'll second.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you very much. Moving on to approval of the quarterly report, Commissioner Chapman.
Yes, well, the quarterly report is here. The problem is that the front 2 pages, which shows all the enumeration of the expenditures and the income, is miniaturized. You can see, very miniaturized. It's, the reason why it is because my printer wasn't working, and I emailed it to Commissioner Nigro and Commissioner Padro, and they couldn't print it out. I don't know, it's a strange program, and I have a hard time printing it out myself. I have to play around with it. I did email it to everyone. If you like, everything is here except the front page that shows what our expenditures are, but if you're interested, you can just look through it. It's not listed, well, it is listed, you just couldn't read it. But you're welcome to look through it, and
Is there anything we have to sign?
yeah, we won't be able to sign because it's too small, but we can approve it and then we can sign it. I'll try to catch up with the individuals who need to sign it.
I mean, is it something like we could, even though that's teensy weensy, can we still sign on that page?
I don't even think they would accept something this
Yeah,
small.
they probably
Oh,
would,
okay.
so we'd have to get them to print out a clean copy for us.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Very good.
So, it was very few expenditures for the first quarter, which encompassed October, November, and December, and the only expenditures were for Minute Taker and for the newsletters. Those were the only expenditures we had, and during that quarter, we did receive a quarterly allotment of $3,777.77. So those were the only items that were